All right. Happy Monday. Thank you guys for showing up. Let's get started with class. There you are. There you guys. What am I the only one showing up with a hat on? Okay. Isn't it like Spirit Day or something? Spirit Week? Winter Wonderland something something? I don't know. What's tomorrow? Pajamas? I don't know. I better go look before I show up with something else. Is it Red Day tomorrow? I don't know. I gotta look. How's everybody doing? You guys good? Yeah? Damien, how you doing? Thanks for showing up today.
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Let the season of overeating begin. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving, giving thanks? Yeah. Okay. Well, what we have today is we're just going to open up with an open notes quiz. So I'm trying to encourage you guys to take notes. And this is the easiest way for me to do that, is that you guys can use your notes. So do you guys have your notebooks? Do you guys have your notes? Why? Because in the real world, right? This is my notebook. You can't see it. In the real world, sometimes you need your notes. Okay. We ready? Yeah. Oh, there she is. Okay. I'm going to hit the enter button. It's in the chat. Go ahead and click on that. After you're done with the quiz, what I have for you today is I have an article on Dr. Mengele, all right, that I would like you guys to read. I added that in the chat as well. Okay, so go ahead, 10 minutes, open notes, and go. Diesel in the chat, please. Kayla in the chat. Niao in the chat. All right, you guys have 2 minutes left. If you're done, go ahead and start reading the article on Dr. Mengele. Find something that is worth highlighting, and then you're going to drop it into the chat. All right, 30 seconds. So make sure you finish up. Alrighty, and we are done. Please submit and let's move on. I wonder if I could rhyme the whole class period. It would be a myriad. So the wonderful part about reading an article online is you can copy and then paste it into the chat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hope you looked up the word penchant. That's an interesting word. The cool part also about learning or reading something digitally is that you can do a 2-finger tap on your mouse pad and you can look up the word quickly. Yeah. Okay, how's it going? You guys done? You guys still reading? Okay. Mm-hmm. Definitely, Nai. So, Nai, why did you choose that detail? It's a good detail. Why?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I chose it because it said that he was able to escape, and then he like became a citizen in somewhere else. Like, I don't know. That just stood out to me.
Right. And toward the end of the article, what's really interesting is this guy, Wolfgang. Yeah, what about Wolfgang? What's his name? Wolfgang Gerhard, right? Yeah, Maddie, why did you choose your detail about how in 1985 a team of forensic experts traveled to Brazil to search for him? Mengele.
I feel like they were trying to search for him because of the amount of patients that he injected into.
Right. I like that you did that because treatment, right? Patients, right? Um, I'm pretty sure that was illegal. Like, and that's why we have laws on what the medical field can do to people, right? As far as ethics and then the experimentation on people. And I guess to an extent animals as well, right? So quite interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen like Catch Me If You Can. Yeah. Have you seen that movie where like they're just trying to like catch Leonardo DiCaprio because he was like this major fraud and he would like print his own money and use it. Do you guys know that movie? It's kind of an older movie. You guys are like, no, that's like something an old person would watch. I know. Okay. So anyway, Nai, that wasn't that funny. Okay. Come on. All right. So what we have here is Dr. Mengele. Quite interesting. I mean, groundbreaking work. What do you mean? Right? He was super interested in studying twins. What? Right? He removed the eyeballs of Jewish people, injected his patients with treatments. Very interesting. Okay. Um, treated them like lab rats, right? Did not treat them humanely. So sad. All right, let's go into our notes. Let's go ahead and share out something that um, drew your attention to in this last reading. Okay. Lots of interesting things unfolded in this last part, in this last reading from pages 47 to 84. Let's go ahead and share out in the chat. Oh, yep, Emily. Yes. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yikes. Emily, let's go ahead and talk more about that first quote you shared with us.
What do you mean, talk more about it?
Why did you choose that quote?
Because he said that on the night that the people were being executed. And then that could only mean. Yeah.
Right? So there was an inference that you had to make, correct? Right? That the soup was not really soup, right? Particular boiled meats, not very good at all. Okay, let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh, Kayla, can you please talk about your quote, because this is really important in this section.
I picked that quote because, like, in the middle of like that section we had to read, he was like talking about like he was losing hope because like he was born as like a really religious child, so he ever like all these things that he was listing, like he like lost faith like a lot. And there's, I think when one of the people like whispered behind him like, "Oh, for God's sake, where is God?" I think that's when they're hanging the three people.
Right, right.
I guess that's when he started like thinking like, "Oh,
Right.
where is he?" or something like that.
I mean, something horribly wrong must have happened, right, for him to be this deeply religious person, and now he's questioning his faith. Okay. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, Maddie mentioned the same thing. So look through this, yeah, so that you get a feel for, did I get what other people were identifying as important quotes? Going back to Emily's quote about the two lines that stood out, right? The tasting of the corpse, right? There was a pipal was hanged, right? Because he was grouped up with the other two prisoners for stockpiling the weapons, right? For hiding them. Whether that was true or not, he was grouped with them. Okay, very interesting. The sad part about this pipal being hanged was what? Does anybody remember?
He was still alive.
Right. So these pipals are young, they're young boys, right? They're being groomed. They're being indoctrinated to believe that it's okay to treat Jewish people like this, right? Like that. And because he was so young, he wasn't heavy enough, which is really sad. A really sad way to to exit this world, right? What did they say? He was alive for like half an hour after, right? He still didn't go. Very sad. Okay. Couple other things. What was up with the lady who spoke only French? In the chat, go ahead. What was up with that? Ellie spoke German, she spoke French. Why did she only speak French? You guys remember that part? Some of you guys are putting your periods in the wrong part, right? The period goes at the end of your in-text citation. Yeah, goes at the very end. Because if not, then the page number is hanging out there by itself, okay? All right, so what's particular? What's the interesting part about the lady who spoke French? And then later, Ellie meets up with her.
Is she the one that he met in Paris and she said, "Bite your lips, little brother, don't cry"? And
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was interesting about her though? Do you guys remember?
Is it about passing herself on as a non-Jewish?
Right, there you go, Makamai. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just checking that you caught certain things because my first class didn't catch certain things. So I'm going back to double check that you guys understood that. Why am I pointing this out, right? People try to save themselves any way they could, right? Was she Jewish? Probably. Did she know how to speak French? Yes. And so she was trying to save herself by only speaking French, which I thought was really interesting. Any way to try to save yourself. Okay. I'm going to make that connection now. Okay. So that's why it's important to know about history and the timeline as well. Right. So in 1941, right, the bombing of Pearl Harbor happened. What was the United States response to that in the way they treated the Japanese citizens of the United States? Does anybody know? Yes or no? Nobody? Well, they had these things called internment camps. Have anybody heard of that before? Japanese internment camps. So after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the United States felt like it was a safety issue. So they rounded up all the Japanese people, confiscated their money, took away their property, and put them into internment camps. Go ahead and Google it real fast. They were all over. Anywhere there were Asians. Citizens. Kind of like what?
When we were reading in 8th grade, the All I'm Asking For Is My Body book.
Oh,
Isn't that kind of what happened to him?
Yeah. I don't know that story. Huh. Okay, so if you look, there's maps. When I was your age, I didn't know that this existed. All right. So like, you know, some of you guys going to the mainland to go to school, you can come across people that look like they're from Hawaii, but they were born and raised up in the mainland. Why? Because they were displaced. They were displaced into these internment camps. And then when they went back to their homes, they didn't have their homes. And the United States drained their bank accounts. Okay, none of you guys know about this? No. You guys should look it up. Kind of, yeah, Maddie, maybe a little bit. I was probably 19 years old when I found that out because I read a book and I was like, what is this? And I I couldn't believe it. I was preparing to reading young adult literature books to prepare to become a teacher, and I read about a girl who survived an internment camp, and I'm like, wait, that only happened in Europe during the Holocaust, but the United States had a, I don't know if you want to call it a lesser version, but quite interesting. Why am I bringing that up? The French lady who only spoke French was trying to not be Jewish, right? In the United States, the Chinese people were being mistaken for Japanese people. The Chinese people created pins that said, "I'm not Japanese," so that they wouldn't be placed into those internment camps. Quite interesting, right? Where do we go from here? How sad. Okay, so next thing, let's talk about page 84. You guys have your books? Okay, let's bust that out. What's on page 84? Let's read that first part, that first paragraph, all the way up to the break in the page. I just need to make sure that you understand what is happening at this part. Nella, you got your book, girl? Why did they clean up before they left Buna? Who knows it? Yes, Kayla.
They wanted to let them know that they live men and not pigs.
Right. Why not tell them? Why not? Why did they have to clean up though? That's so weird.
Maybe for like reputation of men.
Okay, there you go. So if they just left the concentration camp, right? Bodies laying everywhere, right? I mean, they would know how inhumane they were treating other human beings. Leave no trace, right? And then the question comes up what was the rest of the world doing while this was taking place, right? So the closer you get to 1945, right, which is the end of World War II, right, which is the end of the Holocaust because of the unconditional surrender of the Nazi party. What we have here is we have thousands of concentration camps throughout Europe. And as the liberating armies came to rescue, right, came to free those prisoners, the Jewish people, the Nazis had to withdraw back into Germany. And so what we have here is we have the whole leave no trace, right? Hence the name of the book. What happens at night? You can't burn a whole bunch of bodies in the crematorium without doing it at night, because if not, people would be like, what's that going on? What's that black smoke up in the air? Burn them at night. Going back to Mrs. Shatner, right? Fire, I see fire, right? At night. So when we look at this, page 84 is a really important part. Let's read the second part now of page 84. Find the detail of foreshadowing. What is the detail that talks about this is going to get worse? What's the detail of foreshadowing, saying that it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse? Anybody found it yet? Yes, Kayla.
I don't know if it's the one that it seemed as though an even darker night was waiting for us on the other side.
Okay. Let's go ahead and find that. It's at the bottom. Okay, about like, I don't know, 4 inches up the from the bottom of the page. Niall, you got your book, buddy? Get him. Okay, comma, what about you? You got it? Okay, what part of that phrase says that it's going to get worse? Find the phrase in that quote that says it's going to get worse, Kikama. What is it? Was phone a friend? Anybody else? Yes, Becca.
Is it darker night was waiting for us?
Very good. Okay, so what's really interesting, right, is that it seemed as though an even darker night, right? The symbolism of a darker night, it's already dark, right? But a darker night is saying, no, 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 it's going to get worse. Now, the interesting part about this quote is the one that comes before it. Why? Tasia, why? Why is the quote or the sentence before even more interesting? Maka? Maddie, you know why? What's the sentence before the quote?
Are we on page 84?
84. Does your book look like mine?
Yeah.
Yay! Page 84. It's about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. Three paragraphs from, counts up from the bottom of the page. It says the gates of the camp opened. We just brought in a whole nother level of meaning to being on the same page, people. Okay, so we have the gates of the camp opened. It seemed as though an even darker night was waiting for us on the other side. Why is this quote, these 2 sentences, at another level of writing here? What are we comparing? Kayla, tell us something.
I was gonna say like it was a start of like their obstacle journey. Like he's like kind of hoping that he's telling the future by putting in those like past events that made him think that way.
Perhaps. Anela, what about you? Thank you for sharing. Maddie.
I feel like when it says like an even darker night was waiting for us, it was like it's kind of like how it's like like that metaphor, like you see the light at every tunnel, but he can't see that.
Yep, very good. So, as you guys know, they're in a prison, right? They're in a concentration camp. Usually, the symbol of gates opening represents what? Nai, please tell us. The gates opening symbolizes what?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
When gates open, what is that? Is it what kind of sense is brought to the table when
You're welcomed in.
okay,
Welcomed out.
right? They're trying to leave, right? So, right.
So you're free.
Thank you. Right. So this idea of the gates open, right? The gates of the camp open, right? La 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 la, right? It should be like, holy smokes, we're free. But really, when you follow it up with the next sentence, right? It seemed as though an even darker night was waiting. There is that dichotomy of emotions, right? Woo, freedom, and then oh crap, what's gonna take place now, right? And so that video you watched in Ed Puzzle at the very beginning of the introduction is a very important video because it talks about the death marches, right? They had to march, actually run to keep up with the pack. What happens when they fall behind? Anela, do you know? Do you remember from that video? You're like, too late. I can't even remember what happened yesterday. Why would I know something from last month? Right. I get it. Okay. Damon, you remember? What happens when the prisoners fell behind during the death march?
Did they die? Or did they get whipped?
They could have gotten whipped. They definitely died. Obviously, they're called death marches for a reason, right? Imagine, I mean, you guys are so, do you guys have to do the freshman run?
No.
That is a rite of passage. Imagine if you had to keep up with the fastest person in your class. Right. So imagine like old men trying to keep up with the young guys, and they're starving, right? They're emaciated already. It's so sad. And if you fall behind, what happens, right? You get run over. You get run over by other people because they're so afraid to fall behind. Because if they fall behind, they might get shot, right? So what we have here is we have two pretty simple sentences, but it's packed with symbolism. I'm pointing it out because I don't know how Elie Wiesel can retell this story and also write it in such a way that it makes you feel empathy, right? To where he's questioning his faith, his belief in his God. Okay, look at the very bottom last sentence on page 84. Some people didn't have shoes. Some of us cannot even run on rocks, right? Some of us put on socks this morning because it was cold. They are on their death march. Some of them don't have shoes and it's snowing. They are traveling at night. Why? Because they can't be seen on the roadways. Why? Because somebody would have turned them in. You get why it's called night. Horrible things happened at night so that they were able to evade the truth. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's grab your notebooks and we're gonna set up our notes for this last section. So what we have here is, let's get into Canvas. Okay, and let's go to our module for this week. So we have the reading from page 85 to 112. What I want you guys to do is this: turn your notebooks landscape way and title your notes Night, pages 85 through 112. Okay, and then I want you guys to make mind maps like this, and each mind map will have the question. I gave you guys 2 guiding questions today because I want you guys to think about this. Next week, you're gonna write a short essay and it's gonna deal with hope. And so I need you guys to prepare for the short essay because we'll be done with night. So the first question is, what role does hope play in the last section of night? If you read all the way up to page 84, you know that hope plays a major role already, right? Akba, drummer, lost hope. And what happened to him, right? The dad is losing hope. Ellie's dad is losing hope, right? Ellie is questioning his fate. So the question that I want you to really focus on is, what role does hope play in the last section? The second question is, what lesson of hope can you apply to your current situation? So for you guys, right, I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you might have been there as well. You know, during these kinds of hard times, we have to have hope, right? I hope we can get through this, right? I hope we can see better days, right? Some of you guys are so resilient, and most of you guys are resilient, okay? But what can you take from knowing about night and apply it to your own grit, right? To your own spirit. We're not experiencing anything close to what Ellie and the others experienced back in, you know, 1940, 41, 1945. Okay. But maybe by listening or by learning about the Ellie's story, you can find some strength here. Okay. So at the end of class, I'm going to cut you guys loose and you guys are going to watch this Ed puzzle on your own. Okay, and so just make sure you watch the Ed puzzle video before you start reading, because it will set you up for this last assignment, for this last reading assignment. Okay, so everybody set up your notes. Good to go? Okay, so in Canvas, let's continue on. Hit the next button and then the next button. We're going to jump ahead just for a tiny bit. Okay, and I want you guys to take the time right now and upload your notes from sections 1 and sections 2. Each section should have had 5 quotes. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I don't know if you need to like use your camera and then upload it somehow. I don't know. How do you guys upload your pictures? Emily, how do you upload your pictures when I assign that?
Take a picture with the phone and I send it to my computer and then I turn it in.
Can you just take a picture on your computer?
Yeah, but it looks blurry. It's hard to read.
Oh, yeah. Our cameras on our phones are way better. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, and then upload 10 easy points because you should have done it already. Now the problem is if you didn't do it, what's the next step? The next step is you have till tomorrow night at 12 o'clock to turn it in. Okay. Why? Because I need to make sure that you guys are taking notes. Why? Because you'll remember what's going on a little bit better. Why? Because I need you to look back at your notes when you prepare for your final. Show me with your fingers how many weeks till Christmas break. It's crazy. Have you guys turned your pages for your planner? Today is November 30th. When you flip, that's the week before finals. So we have to prepare for our finals. And then when you flip again, that's finals. Are you ready for Christmas break? Some of you guys have been on break all semester long, so it's not going to even feel like a break. So let's make sure that your break is going to feel like a break, if you know what I mean. Some of you guys are like, I need a break. Anybody not need a break? Kayla, you don't need a break. Yeah, you just keep going. Maybe. Tasha's like, yeah, bring it on. Second semester, let's go. All right, are we done? Yes or no? Okay. No, not yet. Okay. If you're done, we can move on, and let's go ahead and bring up a Google Doc template. Okay, you can hit the previous button in Canvas, and then let's go ahead and start the directions for the Father-Son CER. So make sure you choose the Google Doc template that has the MLA format so you guys can get that going. And then we'll look over the prompt. Okay, go ahead and do that. Okay, how's it going? You guys good? You guys found the template for the MLA format so that you can do it correctly? Okay, very good. Okay, and then copy and paste the prompt onto the Google Doc. Delete all that jibber jabber text underneath. This should be one paragraph. It's probably going to be about 6 to 8 sentences long, so make sure it's quality. Okay, is everybody good? Ahi, you good, buddy? Okay, so let's get started here. So the prompt is asking, from pages 3 to 84, there are examples of the theme Father and Son. Explain how the dynamics of the father and son relationship caused Eli and his father to survive during their time in the concentration camp. Provide 2 details to support your response. So if you look, you can select from the very beginning to where we ended on page 84. There are many examples you can choose from. The word that I want to point out is the word dynamic. Okay, why? Because you probably heard the word, but maybe not understood the definition or the use of the word dynamics, right? So you might hear something like, oh, the dynamics on that soccer team is quite interesting because we don't have a leader, but we have a bunch of followers, right? Or The dynamics in that class is a hard one. Why? Because we have like all boys and one girl in that class. Has that ever happened to you guys? Horrors. Okay. So dynamics, I gave you a definition of the word dynamics, and it's really the second definition of the word dynamics, and that is the forces or properties which simulate growth, development, or change within a system or process, the dynamics of changing social relations. So how do I want to compare that to? I want to compare that to like your relationship with your best friend. Is it always good? Is it always bad? No. Can it get complex? Right? Same with your parents, same with your teachers. Sometimes your teachers love you and sometimes they just want to like give you stink eye. Right? Not me though. I'll just give you stink eye the whole time. All right, so what we have here is we have the word dynamics, and I want you guys to really dive into that definition, right? Human behavior, human relationships, they're not simple. They're not straightforward, right? They're hard to define at times because it changes, it develops, it grows. It sometimes goes backwards too, right? Sometimes it can revert to bad habits. And sometimes it can be the most, I don't know, valuable thing you can ever have in your life. So the word dynamics, right? Can somebody give me a paraphrase on what you think dynamics means? So Kalukalani, what do you think dynamics means to you? Just get a guess. Get a guess in.
It's like
I'm gonna get you some help here. Are you ready? Okay, in the chat, give me a synonym for dynamics. Synonym. Don't look it up, just off the top of your head. You're like, but you told me I should use the thesaurus. System, very good. Energy, good. What else? Cool. Those are two really cool words. Energy. So yeah, the vibes between each other, right? What else? Levels. Oh, next level, right? You know, people at different levels, at different stages. That's good. Lively. Okay. Patterns, maybe. Okay, maybe. Compatible. Yeah. Are you compatible or not? Are they compatible? Damien, let's talk about that. Do you see the father-son relationship as being a compatible relationship?
Well, yeah and no. I mean,
Why?
like, 'cause they try to like to be there, or well, they can't really, but like they try to help each other get through it. But like with like the dad trying to like losing faith and hope, it's kind of like throwing off Ellie, and like it's kind of like getting him down and stuff like that. So that's not gonna help.
Right. You guys know that you know that idiom, the wheels started flying off, right? They started to unhinge, right? So although they're together, right? They start falling apart. And how do they bring that back, right? Ellie's dealing with his own business. And then we have the dad giving away his inheritance at this point, right? What was that, by the way? The spoon and the fork? The spoon and the knife? Gold coins? What?
spoon and knife.
Yeah. Imagine if you had only a spoon and a knife. It's pretty deep. But what does Ellie say? No, don't give that to me yet. Stop talking like that. Right? So, I mean, very interesting how the dynamics in the relationship also shifts, right? From the dad being at another level of being an adult, and then Ellie now stepping up, right? The dynamics in that is incredible. So there's this word called animosity. Do you guys know what that means? Does anybody know what animosity means? Okay, quickly look it up. Look it up. You guys look it up. What is animosity? Have you heard that word before? Oh,
It says strong hostility.
yeah.
Whatever.
Meow, could you please put on a shirt? Thank you. Oh, that was a first. Okay, so what we have here, is I just lost my class. Great. Yeah. I lost them all. Look at them all laughing. It's not like we're at the beach, just kind of. Okay, I'm going back to animosity. So the word animosity, have you ever had it before? That feeling in you, and you hold on to it, right? Because a person maybe did something to you, right? That's animosity. At the very beginning of the memoir, the dad does something which I think causes Ellie to have some animosity towards his father. What was that? You guys remember? Nella, you remember? Tasia, you remember? Maddie, somebody. Have we stopped thinking? What's going on? What happens at the very beginning? The dad could have saved his whole family from this ordeal. Kalukalani, do you remember?
Did he like not like? He didn't do something. It was
Yeah, he didn't do what?
It was like,
Maddie, help her.
yeah, I just had it too.
Yeah.
The immigration.
Yeah.
There we go. Right. He had to apply for the immigration, right? So that they could get out of there. But why didn't he? Becca, why? Do you remember?
He didn't want to start on new land.
Yeah. What else was one of the reasons? Now you remember? We can't hear you, girl.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Too old.
Too old. So sad. Didn't want to start new, right? That was Becca. And what else, Emily?
They didn't want to sell all their things.
Right. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Let's not move because I'm old and I don't want to go through the trouble. Now they're in deep trouble, right? Now they're in super deep trouble, right? So we have to infer. I don't think Ellie would ever say, right, that he held that animosity, but it comes out, right? Why? The dad, right? Can't work fast enough, can't walk fast enough, is old, right? And so what, right? We're talking about the dynamics of their relationship. At one point, Ellie now has to be playing the role of the father, right? Because the dad has dropped levels and is now more like needs to be taken care of. Okay, so think about the prompt. Okay, make sure you come up with something. I'm looking for deep thinking here. I don't want you guys to just go for that easy surface level answer. Okay, this is why I'm your teacher. I am asking you guys to think a little harder on this one. Okay, I'm your teacher because I want you guys to think deeper. What is it about their relationship that causes them to survive? Okay, Can? Now, as we move on in the year, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I need you guys to just really focus on this. Okay, I can see each and every one of you guys. I want you guys to raise your hand when I ask you, how many of you guys actually read the rubric before submitting? Oh, really? You're like, I'm just going to raise my hand. Just joking. Okay, you can put them down. Okay. Now, what's important, Anella's like, yeah, I raised both my hands, Kumu. Woo! Okay, so what we have here is we have how you're going to earn your points. I need to know by now, you can read the rubric and say, oh, I got to do the claim, right? Make the checklist. Oh, I got to add in a tag. By now, you shouldn't be asking me what a tag is. Okay, for some of you guys, going back into your thesis statements of your research papers, we are reviewing that you need to have keywords in your claim in order to respond to the question. If you don't have the keywords and you don't answer the prompt, then I can't grade your paper. It becomes a 0. Why? Because I'm asking you how your day was, and then you say you like pumpkin pie. You're not answering the question, and there's no grade for that. Make sense? Okay, even if you got the 2 details and you're like, yeah, if your claim doesn't answer the prompt, I can't grade it. Okay, next, the 2 details. I want to see it in MLA format. Those 2 details are the direct quotes, page numbers. Now, look at the range of pages, 3 to 84. What I'm asking you to do is select the most effective quotes that prove what you're trying to say. Got it? Okay, so challenge yourself. No, this quote is not going to work. I know she's like wanting me to choose 2 quotes, but I have 2 weak quotes and I need to find stronger ones. All right. And then your 2 reasons, so your elaboration that goes along with each of the direct quotes. What I need you guys to do is smoothly transition, right? To further explain this, blah, 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 blah. I need to hear another level of writing, okay? And then the conclusion, I need to see that you guys have thought about your response. Okay, so in the conclusion, does the final thought leave the reader thinking? Okay, all right, questions on this? Is Ellie's relationship with his father simple? Shake or nod? Okay. A lot of it has to do with them being deeply religious, right? Honoring his father. Okay. All right. You guys see what I'm doing here? In the chat. Okay, I need you guys to do this. I cannot see what's going on here. Okay, I don't know. Can you guys yeah. What happened? Can you click on that link in the chat? Yeah. Okay. So when you're looking at my shared screen, okay, what I'm going to show you guys is this. I'm going to release you guys early in order for you to watch this video independently on your own. Okay, Can? I'm going to send you the stinkiest message if you guys don't finish before this class period. Can? Oh. Oops, what is that? Okay, so make sure you guys finish this because it's going to set you up for your note taking for this next section. Okay, all right, any questions? Anella, I'm going to resend it. But I don't know how to do that. Okay, questions?
It's
Good.
okay. I just couldn't see it, but I see it now. Thank you.
You can see clearly now. The rain is gone. That's good. Okay. All righty. It is 12:52. Okay, you have till 1:10 to finish this video before class. Okay, let's push through this last part of the quarter. Some of you guys are on the verge of either getting a C or a B minus. Some of you guys have a B plus and are on the verge of getting an A. Okay, so you guys get what I'm saying. I need you guys to push through this, okay, and get the grades you want to get. Okay, as always, if you need me, email me and we can set up a time tomorrow. Other than that, I think we're good to go. Niall, can you please wait after class? Okay, all right, you guys, get on with your ed puzzle. Take care. Bye, Ahi. Bye, Kikama. Brana, I'm so sorry. I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh.
What happened was, so my camera was off the whole time because my dog got off his chain and I had to run into the road and grab him.
Oh.
I came back and then I just wanted to like act like I didn't leave. So I answered that question. I didn't know my camera was on.
Oh, and then I was like, what am I looking at? So sorry about that. I didn't recover clearly.
That's okay.
I was like, what happened? He had a shirt on. Okay. Anyway.
I was like, how does she know I don't have a shirt on? And then I like looked and I was like, oh God.
And then I was like, oh, he's gonna be so shy now. He's gonna be like taking off his camera. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I just wanted to check that you were okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. All right. Get onto the video and then I'll see you later. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.